Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Spotlight, where we shine a light on entrepreneurs, innovators, and SMEs. Today, we are joined by Paul Fernandez from The Growth Guys. I'm Maxine Crow, your host, and we hope that you enjoy this amazing session today. Hi, Paul. How are you?
Hey, Maxine. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You are more than welcome. I know that we booked this in quite some time ago, so it's great that time has flown now, and that you're here in the virtual flesh, I'd say. So, Paul, introduce yourself, and just tell us about what inspired you to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I'm Paul Fernandez, CEO and co-founder of The Growth Guys, and we're a digital growth agency based in the UK. We essentially help startups and SMEs grow their user base and revenue through the value of their digital assets. My inspiration to become an entrepreneur is twofold. It's a bit of a weird one. I've always had this longing to work for myself. I've always had this longing to do projects with myself and with a team as well, and leading the charge on it. Weirdly enough, my wife and my mum hired a medium once. It's really weird, and I was like so skeptical, so cynical, and she put the tape in, started asking me some questions and what have you, and then predicting my future. And she looked at my arm, and I've got a tattoo
Mhm.
on my left arm, and she's like, "You're going to work for yourself one day. You're going to run your own business." And I don't know if I just manifested it or not, but I was just like, "Yeah, I'm going to run my own business one day." But more sort of like down to earth. I kind of just fell into jobs really, and then I always knew I wanted to do something, and I knew I wanted to do something in advertising and marketing,
Mm.
and I kind of prepped myself to do it. And then, this, as the situation fell, I ended up being let go from my last job, and I was just like, it's now or never. I'm
Mm.
gonna, I need to give it a shot now. So yeah, that was my inspiration for going into being a business owner and an entrepreneur. But more recently, I'm kind of getting inspired all the time. Actually, weirdly, it's kind of one of those things that never stops. So
Mm.
I see other people and what they're doing, and it just inspires me further as well. And that sort of level of inspiration is getting higher and higher. And yeah, I just think it's one of those things. It's just a continuous journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's no one sort of pivotal moment really that goes, yeah, I'm going to do it now, but kind of was in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, it's been a long time coming, I think.
Mm. And what were the initial challenges you faced when you started up?
Credibility was a massive thing,
Mm.
just being a newbie on the block, and you can't do marketing. You haven't been a chartered institute of marketing, entrepreneur or whatever. And there was a lot of sort of naysaying, I think, at the beginning, but credibility was a big thing. Actually gaining the trust of people I wanted to do business with, and people
Mm.
taking a chance on me, and initial cash flow as well. Because when I sort of jumped into running a business and becoming an entrepreneur, I only had really 3 months personal cash flow, um, which was from my last job. So having that runway, and I said to my wife, I was like, I've got 3 months. If I don't do it, then I'll go get a job.
Yeah.
Um, and it kind of worked out. It worked out. So I don't know if I put the fear of God in myself actually a little bit, and just went, look, I've got 3 months to make it work. But a big part of it is going into business with my best friend actually,
Yeah.
and we've been best friends of 20 years. So actually having a partner in crime, if you will, like to do business with, that made it a lot easier, because you've got someone to bounce ideas off and what have you. But
Yeah.
yeah, immediate cash flow was an issue, and some credibility, I think. And it didn't take long to sort of shed that problem. But it's I think they're two things that everybody goes through.
Mm.
But
Definitely.
yeah, they played a part.
Yeah. So how did you? What steps and how did you overcome the credibility, and when did you start to see that pivot and that shift to being more of an authority in your space?
The it's It's a bit of a slightly long-winded story, but I'm going to tell it anyway because
We've got time.
we started the business in October 2019, and then officially registered the business in March because we wanted to obviously see if it was going to work out, and no point going through all the paperwork if it wasn't. But yeah, we registered the business in March, so literally just before COVID really sort of like took hold, and me being sort of still in that 9 to 5 mindset, when lockdown hit, I immediately ran and not ran away from the business, but I went and got a night job at Tesco stacking shelves,
Yeah.
because I was like, I need to provide. I can't run out of money. You, Maslow's hierarchy of needs kind of kicked in,
Yeah.
and so while I was stacking shelves in an evening, I was just reading podcast, listening to podcast after podcast, audiobook after audiobook. And one of a friend of mine, Josh Goodgin, he put me onto this book called Oversubscribed, which I know you're familiar with.
Yeah.
And I listened to that and I was just like, my God, like this is literally how I need to run my business. This is what I need to do. So you showed that book to my co-founder, Carl, who listened to it in the night as well. And we both just came together and shared some ideas on it and going like, what do we do? What do we do? And we started posting on social media about the fact that we'd read this book and we were now reading 24 Assets. So Daniel was a big part of that.
Yeah.
Sort of, he was almost like a virtual mentor really in the beginning.
Yeah.
And we posted on Instagram that we were building our business this way. Anyway, we got a message. We got a message from him into our Instagram inbox, and said, "Guys, we need to talk." And I was like, "Oh,
what have you done?
what have I done? What have I done? What have we done?" And I was like, "Oh no, he's going to take us to court. It's like we've infringed his IP. What have we done here?" Anyway, it was just to set up a meeting to have a chat, and we jumped on the meeting, and it was great. Grilling us a little bit about what we were going to turn over this year and what kind of business we're in, and what have you. And yeah, lo and behold, to cut that sort of long story short, he ended up coming on board as a growth advisor and a business partner. So
Brilliant.
we immediately had almost that, that endorsement from a seasoned entrepreneur and business owner and an author and speaker that just propelled our credibility.
Yeah.
We were a part of the Dent family of businesses, and all of a sudden we had a network, we had a community, and then doing KPI, we had a further, larger community of people to bounce ideas off. So, and when I tell people this story, and it never really grows old, me telling it, to be honest, but it's just, it oozes credibility every time I tell someone that. And, we thank him every day for that. We're very grateful for that opportunity. So, but yeah, taking a stronghold on that opportunity definitely got rid of those credibility woes a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah. What would you say to listeners who are probably at an earlier stage of their venture, setting up, but they're actually solopreneurs? What would you say to them? Would you advise? Yeah, tell me what you would advise them to do to get ahead, if you like, and to propel their business forward.
I think building your personal brand is a big one. You've got to be putting some thoughts and ideas out there. You've got to be seen as actually, having some ideas, knowing what you're talking about. It's easier if you've got the experience under your belt. If you've already been in that industry and you've kind of got that origin story where you can rely on, I've got, 10 years working in X industry and now I'm doing into this. It's like you're harnessing that. Personal brand is a big thing, but I think also try not to be too wild with the business that you're building, because there's a reason some of those businesses haven't been built in terms of the idea of the business, because it's there's no demand for it. So I would almost be looking to industries where there's proven success and learn from the best, and almost maybe build your business in sort of the shadow of that. So they might acquire it later on. It depends on what you're building it for, obviously.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
building it for yourself, but if you're building it for exit potentially, or a merger, build it in light of that, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, personal brand, and then look to the industries where there's actually proven success would be my two main ones.
Yeah. Thank you for that. On your journey, have you had any setbacks, and how have you handled them?
Oh yeah, we've had many. How long you got? We've had so many. Honestly, we've had mainly to do with people. To be honest, mainly to do with team members, past team members, obviously. Um, we thought that we needed to hire, full-time people, and that was the way to build culture and all this kind of thing. If we
Yeah.
had them in-house and we were together all the time, that was the way that we were going to build culture, and that was just completely the wrong way. And a
Mm.
particular setback we had was we hired a digital marketer who was ex-Google, and we thought, oozes credibility, ex-Google, and just completely just didn't get it, and had a real bad attitude, um, and really actually lost us a couple of client contracts
Oh my God.
because he was arrogant and really just didn't. And that the buck stops with us, like,
Yeah.
absolutely. We brought them into the business, but I remember one particular day, we were just asking routine questions about a client, like, what can we do to help this particular client? And he got very defensive, ended up standing up, like screaming at me, calling me a joke, and how he feels sorry for my business partner because, like, literally I'm sat on the corner of a desk and he's pointing in my face,
Oh my gosh.
but that experience was a real psychological setback because I was like, am I even cut out for this?
Yeah.
Am I even cut out for managing a team, leading a team? And I do realize, looking back on it, maybe a lack of vision, maybe he wasn't completely bought into what we were trying to do. Maybe he thought it was easy money. I don't know, really, looking
Mm.
back on it, but definitely some lessons learned there. But that was a huge setback for us, with team members of the past, because I just we didn't really know what we were looking for, and I don't think they really knew what they were buying into, and that was a real big alignment issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big setback. And then we've had big client contracts pull out, and we spent good money chasing after bad and all this kind of stuff, which has set us back with cash flow and things. But you know, nothing completely out the ordinary. I think they're just routine setbacks that probably a lot of businesses go through. I think if you go into entrepreneurship or into wanting to be a business owner thinking that there's going to be no chinks in the road, you're slightly deluded, because
Yeah.
there's always a challenge around the corner, and it's going to bite you in the ass. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. It's quite interesting that what you said about the chat from Google, because do you feel that because it's a great a massive company and people that work there, and do you think he brought some of that with him, thinking, oh, because you're a startup, then he what do you reckon that was?
It was complete arrogance. Um, it's like I came from Google. We actually he actually said the words to us. I'm helping you guys out here. It was kind of like he
Yeah.
was bigger and better than us, and that's fine. I don't mind. I want people that are better than me. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
But I don't want people kind of like looking down on what we're trying to do here and thinking that it's some kind of hobby. It's not. This is our livelihood. This is our
Yeah.
mission. This is what we're trying to do here. Don't take that as a joke. Um, but again, book stops with us, where it's we just need to make sure that we're constantly aligning people into what we're trying to do, and the ventures that we will have in the future.
Yeah. So oh, that's really insightful, because it just emphasizes it's not about the right people as well. And our recent trip away, it was really evident that having the right people in your business is key. And also when you realize that they're not just, cutting as quickly as you can to
Mm.
limit reduce a damage limitation, if you like.
Mm.
I know that sounds a little bit cold, but I think you do more damage keeping someone in that's not aligned with your vision and your culture than just cutting loose and stepping back and then actually taking the time to find the right person.
100%, 100%. I saw a really good quote about this the other day, actually, and it's from a fellow agency owner, um, Carrie Rose, who runs a business called Rise at Seven, and she said, if you can't change the people,
Mm.
change the people. See that, if you can't change them, or if you can't, align them, then you're going to need to cut them.
Yeah,
Because you can't waste time, because it costs you money, it costs you time. You're setting a bad precedent for the rest of the people that are in your business, and they're
yeah,
probably looking at you and going, why are you sticking with this person? Like, attitude first, skills second, I think is kind of what we look for at this stage of our business.
yeah. I like that quote. What was the name of the lady that said it?
Carrie Rose.
I'll have to Carrie. I'll
Carrie,
have
yeah,
to.
she's flying. She's great. I follow her. She's awesome. I met with her chief commercial officer a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, they all just like speak so highly of her all the time, and she's got some really great things that she says,
Yeah,
and it's evident in what they're doing because they're flying. They're great.
that's brilliant. So, Paul, where do you see the growth guys in the next 5 years?
I like that question because I have a very specific answer. um, I know people look at that sort of question and go, "Oh, yeah, a 5-year question," but I think it's a good one because I think you've got to have that roadmap. I think in 1, 3, and 5 years.
Yeah,
Um, I think of the growth guys now as a bit of an R&D room, researching and development of problems that we see in the industry and outside of our industry as well.
yeah,
Um, and I definitely see in 5 years, I see the growth guys still being how we are right now in terms of what we do. Obviously, we will be much larger. I would expect if
mm,
everything goes well. Um, but we will have offshoots of the growth guys, additional ventures. We're
mm,
currently working on a couple right now. One that we've just launched the waitlist for last week, which is called Lead Crafters,
yeah,
and that's a product that's in partnership with Score App. So it's data-driven lead generation with insights and nurture. Um, and that's a full end-to-end solution that we've been cultivating and building for a little
yeah,
while based on the experiences that we've had with our clients who using Score App or using cold email or performance marketing or anything. So we've brought all of those insights together and created this product and launched the waitlist last week, and we've got multiple signups ready to go, which is fantastic. So, and we're working on other ventures as well, which are kind of problems that we see from the outside
yeah,
and that we experience from the inside as well, and go, well, we can help that, we can solve that.
yeah,
Yeah, so in 5 years time, we would definitely see the R&D element of the growth guys be much larger, and we will have multiple ventures that are spun out from that.
yeah. And for some of our audience may not be familiar with what you do and the big problems that you're solving. So can you just delve into the growth guys and your vision and your mission and what you do?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I come from a family where unemployment was rife, and it really deeply affected our family. And my vision with that one is to basically see unemployment completely eradicated. I think there's enough work out there for everybody. And if we can, with the growth guys, if we can help them grow revenue and users and the value of their digital assets, then if we can help them grow their own growth team and put the growth team in their business, then that's going to help employment. That's going to help them hire for the first time or again if they already have employees. So that's kind of the mission we're on at the moment, is to actually we're designed to be deleted a little bit as a business, because we go in, we grow,
Yeah,
we plant the seeds so that they can grow. We
yeah,
put the best practices in there, and obviously we need to show quick wins so that they can actually get a result, but it's putting the best practices, the best foundations in there for growth,
yeah,
from a digital perspective, so that they can then grow by themselves and outgrow us.
Yeah.
so that they can go and build their own growth team.
So what's an example of a digital solution that you would implement for someone to scale and grow?
Yeah, so we have our Grow Better program, which is how growth marketing works. Is that we work across the thin line of acquisition, activation, and retention. So we
Mm,
look at the acquisition levers that we need to pull from a digital perspective to grow users and revenue, and digital marketing is obviously a part of that. Whether it's PPC, paid ads, um, content. Looking at what partners can we bring in to help them grow as well,
mhm,
looking at how they activate those acquisitions as well. So we help them cultivate customer lifetime value, make sure
mhm.
that it's, because acquisition and retention are two sides of the same coin. We need, as much as we're driving acquisition and new customers, we need to make sure that the ones that they do have, they're getting the most out of, and making sure that the customers are getting the most out of the business as well,
Yeah.
out of the relationship, because it's absolutely a two-way thing. And we just employ digital solutions to do that. So our Grow Better program is
Mhm.
a 12-month solution where we literally work in phases, and it's three lots of 4-month phases where we work on acquisition, we sort that, we work to activation, we sort that, and then we work on the retention side, which can actually go on a little bit longer than 12 months, depending on variable factors that happen within a business. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's our core solution that we go through with our businesses, and yeah, we end up seeing massive results. I mean, we've had some clients stay with us for 2+ years,
Yeah.
where there's, because there's always bigger problems to solve, and sometimes those businesses don't want to hire a growth team. Staying lean is important to them, so we solve that problem for them.
Yeah.
um, but some businesses want it in-house. They want to be able to control and have oversight of that growth team, and that's absolutely fine, and that's what we kind of advocate for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, I understand the part about the deletion, bringing yourself into a point of deletion, because as an interim in facilities management for many years, when you go into somewhere, you're never there to stay. You always want to make sure, I guess, if putting it into context, that everything is in place that to make you redundant almost.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
similar sort of thing
absolutely.
with digital. Yeah,
I
I
think
get
it's
that.
quite. I think it's quite important as well that businesses can learn how to do this for themselves rather than
Mm.
relying on outside agency.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
Being sustainable and self-reliant for growth is quite important.
And
Very
also
important.
if someone's stuck in a mindset of, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this, but I don't know how to move it forward, is that where you would inject some of your solutions as well to propel them forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's
Mm.
certain things we don't touch. We don't look at human resources or anything like that. We're
Yeah.
looking at literally the digital channels that can help grow revenue and users, and increase the value of their digital assets.
Mm.
So there's certain areas around there that we will obviously affect, but we definitely don't go that far as to
Yeah.
have an opinion on it, or we kind of stick to our lane in terms of
Yeah.
what we're doing, but we know it's going to have an effect on other areas of the business, whether that's streamlining certain areas or making other areas of the business more profitable. We don't know
Mm.
when we go in, but yeah.
That's brilliant. Paul, what's the best piece of advice you've received as an entrepreneur?
This is just going to turn into the Daniel show, isn't it? Best advice. I mean, a lot of the best advice has come from him because we're so close to him. But prolific beats perfect is
Mm.
absolutely the best piece of advice we've ever received, and I know that's you know it's just the mantra of just just do it, just do it. Make sure it's kind of in the right direction that you want to go in, but just do it,
Mm.
because you don't want to get in the way of good. Like, you want to just get stuff done. Um, and you need to be prolific with it. You need to be everywhere. You need to be doing it more and more times. And someone like Alex Hormozy talks about this as well, where it's just do more over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'll see the benefits. And that's kind of those two bits of advice really dovetail into each other, because people procrastinate. People think, you get a lot of sofapreneurs, if you want to call them that, where they've got, and I was one of them, by the way. I was
Mm.
definitely one of them. I was watching Dragon's Den going, oh, I'll tell you what would be a great idea for a business. I was definitely one of them. And just if you can learn how to just get stuff done
Yeah.
and mobilize a team to be able to get stuff done as well, because you can't do it alone.
No, that's true.
And just be able to do that over and over again over a longer period of time, you're going to win. As long as you can stay in business, you're going to win eventually. And yeah, that was the best piece of advice I ever got. It changed the way I thought about things.
Did you find that you procrastinate less with having that ingrained in your DNA now?
Yeah, I mean, look, procrastination, everyone does it a little bit. I can do it from time to time. But yeah, I do it definitely a lot less. Definitely some room to improve there. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a lot less from hearing that.
Yeah, there was a book that I do dip in and out of sometimes by Caroline Mice, and she says about procrastination. Procrastination actually stops you from realizing your future and the way you want to, and how you want to be, and how you want to show up. It's just that delay button that you'll keep pressing and stops you
Yeah,
moving forward.
yeah. I mean, look, it's one of those things. It's fear, I think, a lot of the time, courage and bravery. You just need to kind of jump in and get it done. Because what's the worst that can happen? The worst case scenario usually isn't that bad.
Mm.
And I mean, you could lose all your money, but you can always earn more money. Like, it's no one's gonna get severely hurt in the process, I don't think.
That's very true. So, with just on a personal side, how do you maintain your work-life balance, especially with the demands of running your business?
Oh, that's a funny one. 'Cause yeah, I've got a young family, so I've got two kids, like 6 and 2, and
Oh,
it's one of those things that, I mean, I love working. Working is part of my life.
mm,
So as long as it's a really difficult one, that one. It's a really, like, because what is work-life balance to you? Like, what work-life balance is to you is different to the next person. So, do people work 9 to 5 and then shut off? Like, that's not me personally. Um, it's definitely an area that I do need to improve on. I do need to be probably a bit more present and things, and but other than that, I work pretty much all the time. Because I like it, but I just take extended gaps, breaks.
yeah.
So, between the hours of like 5 and 8, I probably won't be in front of my laptop, because I'll be with my kids or eating dinner and relaxing for a little bit. But if there's something to be done post 8 o'clock, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Same with weekends and holidays and what have you. But I think it's important, obviously, to put your breaks in, put your extended holidays in throughout the year if you can. Again, not something I've been able to do this year, but yeah, work-life balance is I think it's one thing that people will always impose on you rather than you impose on
Mm.
yourself. So I'm very, very much a sort of awakened to the fact that I like working and it's part of my life.
Do you feel that because when you were talking about work-life balance, then I think, do you think work-life balance is actually going to become an obsolete expression? Because just with COVID, just with hybrid working, just the way society has actually evolved, do you think that that's actually going to become obsolete?
I think so, actually. Yeah, I do. I think people just want flexibility, don't they? They want
Mm.
the flexibility to be able to do their best work when they're feeling up to doing their best work. I'm not saying, that you kind of veer into the areas of laziness and things like that. And, there'll be no room for lazy people within businesses. But, if you can be doing your best work, I don't agree with this whole idea of like sitting in front of a desk for 8 hours a day. You know,
Mm.
sometimes your best ideas come from taking a walk or, you know, even in the shower or whatever. I don't know, but you know, it's your best work won't always be done within certain hours.
Mm.
And yeah, I definitely think it will become obsolete at some point, especially with the trend that we're seeing with more businesses starting, more people wanting to work for themselves and to have that flexibility and to make their own rules. And yeah, I think eventually we'll probably see the term work life balance go in the bin. But
Mm.
um, who knows? I mean, I definitely think it will. I think it might just be one of those fads, one of those crazes that will die out eventually, and they'll probably just repackage it and call it something else.
Yeah, yeah, most likely. Paul, is there a book, podcast, or resource? I know we've talked a lot about DP
Yeah.
today, that's been particularly influential for you.
Yeah, I mean, the E-Myth from Michael Gerber was a big one actually. That's a really good book. Just
Martin down.
the way that he separates the entrepreneur, and he uses the example of baking pies. And just because you're good at baking pies doesn't mean you should go into business doing it, because you actually need
Yeah.
to run the pie making business. You need to sell for the pie making bit and all of that. And that kind of just opened my eyes up a little bit to people think entrepreneurship, it can be a little bit one dimensional. It's like, it's speaking on stages, it's being on TV and, ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange or something. You're like, that's not what it's all about, really. It's actually, you've
Mm.
got to be able to make sales, you've got to build a valuable company, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to manage people. And that kind of opened me up to that one a little bit. That was quite good. $100 million Offers from Hormozy was a great book as well, that I
Mm.
kind of referred to quite a lot. And his subsequent book, actually, the sequel to that was pretty good. But I think the main one for me was definitely oversubscribed, because
Yeah.
that was the light on moment for me.
Yeah.
In terms of like, okay, these are actually predictable steps that I can take.
Yeah.
And as much as you try and do it, obviously, just having that resource, that reference to go back to is great. So, yeah, I'd put all of them into my valuable resources.
Oh, that's some great recommendations, and I will share those with the audience as well once we've finished.
Yeah.
So, what's one message or lesson that you'd like our listeners to take away from this conversation today?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cliche, but I mean, just keep learning, be open to learning. I think arrogance doesn't really have any place in entrepreneurship or business ownership. You don't know it all. You really don't. And nobody has it all figured out. Um, because that's the other side of it as well, is that knowing that no one has it all figured out. They might look like they do, but they're experiencing challenges as well. That because as you get bigger as a business, the problems just get a little bit bigger.
Mm.
But yeah, keep open to learning and learning new things, and be open to other opinion. I'd say at some stage in my life, I probably have been quite closed off to opinion.
Yeah.
But definitely changed that mindset over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, and that's great. That's great for the audience to hear as well. Um, we're at the top of our time. How can anyone get hold of you if there's something that's resonated with them today? What's the best way for us to contact you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn quite a lot. So follow me on LinkedIn. I do have Instagram. I don't really go on there an awful lot, but and then there's my YouTube channel as well. But mainly, if people want to get hold of me directly, it's just paul@thegrowthguys.co.uk,
Hmm.
and I try to respond to everyone. So yeah, those two platforms mainly, LinkedIn and email. I'll be on there.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. It's been amazing getting to learn
Oh, thank
about
you
the
so
growth
much,
phase.
honestly.
And we will stay in touch on social media. And I just really want to thank you for your time today.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. And I will be on that next trip.
Please do. Please come. Honestly, the more
Yeah.
the merrier. Take care. This has been another episode of In the Spotlight series with Paul Fernandez, CEO of The Growth Guys. Until next time, thank you. Bye.